afternoon from the Hostage Diaries. Today I am going to discuss this project that I've been working on. It's called the StrangerThings GenV MAtRiX Voodoo Art Project. And it has to do with numerology and entertainment, semiotics, Jungian synchronicity, strange coincidences. Which pertain, it's like this goes back to the guillotine, Sun King, gravitational rotation based upon semiotics being the study of signs and Jungian synchronicity being coincidences. This is more a grouped pattern revolving around my family, which I am in. This is coincidental, beautiful mind, crazy. But this has to do with art credibility marketing. Everybody on the internet goes crazy for Taylor Swift Easter eggs, which are symbology, secret symbology. Well, this is all symbology revolving around my family, which I am attempting to turn into manufacture as art credibility, therefore to make many millions of dollars to free my family from slavery. And the second part of this lecture will be about VIP slaves. So the first part about is generating credibility based upon, which then therefore creates the VIP slaves. So today I'm going to start with the Stranger Things upside down. Stranger Things being, then the Stranger Things has to do with the D&D, which is a big part of my life. Dine and Dash upside down, which is based upon this at LSU, at DeltaChi, which was founded in Cornell Red&Buff, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or the colors. AlphaLouis initiated OmegaLast of the new class. So then therefore, this theory is, and this is all theoretical, crazy theories. I call it conspiracy comedy. The Morcourt channel is the whole basis of this. The Sun King, the St. Louis 9, me being born on December the 9th, 12/9, Sun King supercomputer network hacks. So what it did, in my theoretical estimation, it turned this LouisIAna supercomputer network, and theoretically, because of the global Catholic parishes, this permeated to a global network, which then mutated alpha macro perspective, which is to a omega micro perspective. So you're taking a alpha king sort of mentality, leadership, competent leadership role, and you're creating it into this every man a king, Huey Long, chicken in every pot, micro perspective of Home Depot game day. And so therefore it mutated the reality by programming the matrix to alter the systematic illusions, therefore brainwashing. The theory is the VIP zoo slave, St. Louis 9, powers the matrix game grid, providing magic converted to real cash. And then it's a fight for your right to party, fight for rank in this volcanic lava world, and it programs the real world. It seems far-fetched, but it's all a theory. So we're going to start with me being Barry Louis Marx Jr., JR. Bo is my nickname. There was a rumor, and I'm going back. There was a rumor that my great-great-great-grandfather was in line to be the head rabbi of Russia. I don't know much about it. You know, that's something that could be researched. Anyway, family supposedly we immigrated from White Russia, which is now Belarus, and immigrated to New York, then moved to New Orleans, where my great-great-grandfather started with a peddler cart, which are very prevalent there. And there's a Southern Museum Jewish experience where there's peddler carts shown. And they sell things out of the back of a cart. And then supposedly we opened a store in New Orleans, then moved to, about this time, lumber was huge in the South, and Bogalusa was the heart of the Green Empire, the lumber empire in the South. It was a huge lumber town. So they up and moved to Bogalusa and opened the Marx Mercantile Store in the mid-1800s. I don't know if it was post-Civil War, or what exactly, when it was, for the historians to tell us. So I've got a picture that shows horses and plows. So it was pre-tractors and internal combustion engines. So it was a regionally big store. My step-grandmother said, who was from Mississippi, said it was a big deal for her family to drive into Bogalusa to go to the Marx Mercantile Store, which was big in the region. It was like the predecessor to Walmart sort of mentality, Mercantile. So then this is where it gets into the coincidental. Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto in Capital. He was Prussian. 1933, Marx Brothers launched Duck Soup. They also had Animal Crackers, Monkey Business, Night at the Opera. Louis B. Mayer founded MGM, and on 1/11, which is a very significant day, he founded the Academy of Motion Picture Sciences. St. Louis, King of France, 9, City and Cathedral, City being where Budweiser, and there's also Emerson Electronics, which ties into Savannah, and Anheuser-Busch. Laurel and Hardy, my mother's maiden name being Hardy. Louis Prima was from New Orleans, and he was in the Jungle Book, King Louis. Louis Armstrong, born New Orleans, What a Wonderful World. There was the Rosemary Clooney Show, my grandmother Rosemary. Beaumont, Texas, me being Beau, Spindletop Oil Boom was a huge oil boom. And out of that was founded Gulf Oil and Texaco Oil. Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life. These are not in chronological order. They're all mixed up. I'm going to make reference to what I think it deals with. The Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, this being around the time of the Korean War, which was Karl Marx, communist. My Jewish great-grandmother, Minnie, and we lived on the Pearl River, which was right there. So in the Minnie Pearl, who used to wear a price tag on her hat like the Mercantile. Then I had a French grandmother named Rosemary. There was Rosemary's Baby, Rosemary Clooney. These are all coincidental, but it is forming a pattern that created a conspiratorial motive for trapping, hunting, stalking. Creates the VIP slaves. So rather than celebrating the fact of all of this, we were actually captured and sold into slavery. And so then there was the follow-up to Rosemary's Baby. It was called Look at What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby in 1976. ABC TV movie, Satan's Son Grows Up. Of course, that spooked a lot of the crazy religious zealots. My mother, Deborah, Urban Cowboy, Deborah Winger, Sissy, John Travolta, Bud, like Budweiser, St. Louis, Gillies, which was Mickey Gilley was related to Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart from Faraday, Louisiana. Deborah Winger was also in Wonder Woman. She was Drusilla, ties into Drusilla Seafood. Julia Drusilla was born on 9/16, which is my dad's birthday. Drusilla Seafood. Officer and a Gentleman with Louis Gossett Jr. 88. She was in a movie called Betrayed with Tom Berenger. Had a stepfather named Tom in 88. Leap of Faith with Steve Martin. A Dangerous Woman. 95. Forget Paris. 87. Black Widow, Alexander Barnes. In 2014, she was in called Boy Choir with Mrs. Steele, which took place in Odessa, which is a big thing. Deborah Norville, Dalton, Georgia, Anchor Inside Edition from 95 to 25. Deborah Messing, Will and Grace. I attended St. Thomas More Catholic School, Eagles. Dudley Moore, author, Bo Derek 10, which haunted me. Roger Moore, James Bond. There was a Louisiana sheriff called J.W. Pepper who was kind of made fun of. Then you get into the whole JVV, JW thing. JR, 11th grade, second, junior being the second. Fall Guy, Hooper, and Kiss Destroyer. When I was a kid, there were these girls that chased us. I'm going to start back a little bit further. When I was living with this was probably in 74 because my sister was just born at the time. There was this mean kid named TL. I lived down the street from Martin Clear, and we used to play with a bunch of kids. And so the kid TL was mean to me, so I uninvited him to my birthday party. TL being Texas, Louisiana, or latex. So that was a curse haunting me. I was uninvited from my entire life. My family was destroyed. Was it because of that? Are they that crazy? Yes, they are that fucking crazy. When you see the whole big picture, you see how fucking crazy the mafia really is. So we moved to these apartments over on Harold's Ferry Road where my cousin Terry Dowd lived. And he introduced me to Kiss, the band. Kiss Destroyer, Kiss Alive. My mother was dating Tom Alexander, who was from Mississippi, Long Beach, Biloxi at the time, and he bought me my first Kiss album, which was Kiss Alive too, and we used to listen to it all a bunch. But so there were these girls, these younger girls that used to chase me and my cousin Terry and try to kiss us, and we would run from them, stupid. But then one day we were standing around. The girls that tried to kiss us were there. My cousin Terry was there. I don't remember who all. This kid on a bike blindsided me and knocked me down, and my head slammed into the concrete. And I got up and ran inside, and I had this huge whelp on my head. Some doctors think it could have caused my attention deficit disorder or hyperactive disorder. Who knows? So that was a permanent mark. This goes back into the mafia justified lynching as curse marks, or the whole communist Marx thing. Even though Julius Hammer named his son Armin Hammer after the Armin hammer on the Russian flag. He was a founder of the Communist Party. My name being Barry Marx, Bear Marx, like the Russian bear and, Chinese bear and Marx. See, so the mafia justified the lynching, torture and lynching as that's how they justified it. It's still going on today. I'm still being punished for the whole my name sort of pay for my name sort of mentality. That's how crazy this mafia stalking really is. But so George H.W. Bush actually pardoned Armand Hammer with a presidential pardon in '89. So this, it doesn't hold any water. But the Fall Guy, stuntman Lee Major, $6 Million Man, and Hooper was the Smokey and the Bandit, Jerry Reed, the bootleggers of Coors Beer, Golden, Colorado, and Texarkana, and the bandit Burt Reynolds, who always looked like my father in my estimation, B.R. Burt Reynolds. So Hooper, he was in Hooper, and then Jan Michael Vincent was in there. Terry Bradshaw was in it. Sally Fields. Then there was Kiss Destroyer, and then in 1982, my grandfather was in the Navy. They brought in the naval Kid Destroyer. So what Kiss Destroyer, Kid Destroyer in Baton Rouge. And then in 82 or 83, the Karate Kid started. And that's kind of when they started I was viciously attacked. Louis Marx Toys was a company that used to make army men. They did a whole bunch of stuff back in the 20th century. They did something called the Rock'em Sock'em robots, where you would control two robots fighting each other. And it was the premise for the Hugh Jackman film, Real Steel. S-T-E-E-L or S-T-E-A-L. They justify stealing as steel industry, the whole Terry Bradshaw Steelers thing. But it's really pickpocketing is what it is. They're just trying to beauty shop it up. So, 1982, there was a film called The Toy, Louis Marx Toys, and filmed in Baton Rouge with Jackie Gleason, who played U.S. Bates, and Richard Pryor, who was a toy that got bought for it was like a slave, or paid to be a toy for his son. Then I had an Uncle Brewster. My father's uncle was Brewster, and there was a movie called Brewster's Millions with Richard Pryor. So then there was 1982, Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers write Hard Candy Christmas, and my mother's family being the Hardys. So Catholic High Bears, 9th grade, I was cursed. St. Louis 9, my birthday being 12/9. There was this goes back to the curse Marx mafia stalking to pick my pockets. It only matters if you have deep pockets to pick. So the stalking, the curse Marx only happened, and they justified the pickpocket bank robbery as we're patriots. Patriots are the biggest pickpockets half the time. But it's all about kill the commies. That sort of mentality. So I was forced to read this book called Harrison Bergeron. There was a kid named Eddie Bergeron who was a short kid at St. Thomas More, and Eddie Edwards, who was from Marksville. We'll get into him later. Harrison Bergeron, which is about handicapping. And at the end, he tries to take off his handicaps and they shoot him in the head. Was that a veiled threat? If I ever try to escape, they'll assassinate me. And they've rigged it to where there are literal guns in my head. The Godfather 2 gospel of Senator Geary and the dead hooker in the cat house, and to bribe, that's the mafia initiation, fraternity initiation, loyalty, the gag, the senator. So Catholic High Bears. I only went to 1 year Catholic High, so it was cursed. 9th grade, 12/9, St. Louis 9, handicapping. And I think we also read a book called The Contender, which was about boxing. And that's all. Those are the two things I can remember. And I do remember we watched the film of Romeo and Juliet. J.R. Ewing, E.W.E. Dallas. There was Neiman Marcus, which ties into in my estimation, Neiman Marcus Aurelius. Edwin W. Edwards, Louisiana governor. E.W.E. from Marksville. Curse Marx. E.W.E. U and a Ram, like the Los Angeles, St. Louis Rams. E.W.E. is 393 east-west east, 393 on the clock. In 393, Theodosius, Emperor of Rome, abolished the Greek Olympics until 1896. The Beau Rivage Palace, which is in Lausanne, Switzerland, is now the base of the International Olympics Committee. Coincidence? Okay, then we're getting into dynasty. John Forsyth. There's Forsyth Park here in Savannah. Blake Carrington. Joan Collins and Jackie Collins. Jackie Collins wrote a book series about Lucky Santangelo. Lady Boss, Drop Dead Beautiful were several of them. San Angelo is where we were called to for butchering. Tom Green County, there was an MTV show, the Tom Green Show. Tom Green is a very rare name. I checked Wikipedia. Goodfellow Air Force Base, which is military intelligence, counterintelligence, linguistics, and also firefighting. And then right after there, they had Henry Hill and the Goodfellows. Then there's something called Castle San Angelo in Rome, which is connected to the Vatican. coincidence, crazy. Golden Girls, 85 to 92, 4 older ladies. Then there's the LSU Golden Girls, which is the dance team for the LSU football team. Cursed, New Orleans Jazz, 74 to 79, owned by a guy named Sam that owned Sambo's restaurant. Cursed, Utah, they moved to Utah Jazz, which is polygamy. Utah being the, I'm going to get into this more later, but it's the Northwest 12-9 state of the Four Corners. Golden Girls, curse. Barry Manilow, dad's persona. Then there was the Anne Rice, the erotica S&M bondage Sleeping Beauty trilogy about princess and princesses. And then there was the vampire books and Vampire Louis. Then there's 1987, Beauty and the Beast, Terminators, Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman, Pearl River, Beauty and the Beast. And my stepfather was named Tom Alexander, Alexander Hamilton. So Linda Hamilton, the Terminator. Bold and the Beautiful, 87. Beastie Boys License to Ill was 86. There's Ill Communications, which I have. Nordica Beast 10, which is an Italian ski company. They made the Nordica Beast, the Bo Derek 10 Curse ski boots. Ferris Bueller was back then when I was in high school. If you spell Bueller with my name, B-E-A-U is like Bew, but it can be pronounced as Bueller. Johnny Be Good was a movie about a highly recruited football, and the song Johnny Be Good, way back among the Evergreens, close to New Orleans. Johnny Be Good, Chuck Berry song. Anthony Michael Hall played Johnny Walker, this highly recruited football, and his backup was Robert Downey Jr. TV show Roseanne, always equated to my grandmother, Rosemary, Roseanne. John Goodman was in it, who actually married a girl from Bogalusa. Groucho Marx played Captain Spaulding in Animal Crackers. Rob Zombie, who was the lead singer of White Zombie, created movies with the character Captain Spaulding, played by Sid Haig. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, Haunted World of El Super Beasto. My voice is going to have trouble today, I can already tell. I'm only 2 pages into 12. This is going to be a long one. George Lucas, Howard the Duck, 1986, my Uncle Howard. 1986, Blake Edwards, like Edwin Edwards, A Fine Mess with Ted Denson and Howie Mandel. I had an Uncle Ted and an Uncle Howard. Remake of a Laurel and Hardy's, a music box. Rick Springfield, Hard to Hold, the Hardy's thing, 1983. They took that bet with me. I'm pretty easy to hold when they shrink me down to be a gummy bear. My sister Erin, similarities, Erin Andrews, Erin Burnett, Erin Gray, Buck Rogers, and Silver Spoons, Erin Moriarty of The Boys and GenV being big. She was a varsity cheerleader. Erin Foster, Nobody Wants This. That's me. Everybody rejects me. Sister Sarah Foster, my sister actually has a sister-in-law named Sarah, and then there's Annie Aaron Clark, who is St. Vincent's, and we'll get into St. Vincent's School later on, which is right down the street. Sister Callie Hernandez, Grey's Anatomy. Callie Torres was an orthopedic surgeon. Callie Curry, who was the writer for Nashville, Thelma and Louise, Aretha Franklin, Respect, and Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, which is a Rebecca Curry. My brother Ryan Gosling, Ryan Seacrest. It goes back to this 9/16 Dad's birthday, which is a huge day in mafia piracy. Clear Channel Media rebrands as iHeart, and they stole our heart, and there it is. Ryan Seacrest works for iHeart. That goes back into the body stealers, organ theft. I've got a cousin Monica, the friends Monica Bellucci was in the Matrix, Passion of the Christ. She was a Bond girl, Monica Barbaro. Cousin Henry Cavill was Superman, then he was like 1,000 hammers or something like that. David Henry, Wizards of Waverly Place, and Henry Danger. Cousin Christine, the Christina Aguilera song, beautiful. Christina Hendricks, Mad Men, Beggars and Choosers, and Good Girls. Cousin Sam, he was my Catholic godson. Sam Hunt and Sam Asghari, I guess. I've got a sister's niece-in-law. So this is the Savannah connection. Isabel Ham. The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is a joke. Beau Rivage. Slave, waiter, fetch time, whipped, ugly, UGA Lee. Isabel Belly Conklin is the character. I've been an alienated incel in Savannah since 2010, wasting the prime Beau beauty years. Then there's a new show, or Isabella Furman, which was the Hunger Games. I am hungry, hunger pains. HBO French series that's upcoming, The Seduction, based on Dangerous Liaisons prequel. Isabella de Mateuil, Anna Marie Val. I'm not very good with names. And then there's a character, Vincent Lacoste, so there's St. Vincent's and Scad Lacoste. Savannah niece Madeline Hunt, and that ties into the Caldwell Zoo, 3 KC Royal kids, the Chiefs and the Royals, the kid, and Gracie Hunt. And there's also Madeline Bierster. So Madeline Hunt and Madeline Bierster on WTOC, a local channel. Madeline Pesh, which was on Riverdale. And Madeline Klein, which is on the Outer Banks. And that's kind of ties into my niece Madeline actually got a boat and lives on the water and is kind of that sort of thing. And then Madeline McGraw and Black Phone, who has a sister, Violet McGraw, which is like my Savannah niece, Vivian. And then I just discovered a new program called Has Been Hotel. Me being a has-been because the summer I turned pretty wasted, which is all about the Princess of Hell, was invented by Vivian Madrano. But she's also got a new show called Hell of a Boss, which is about these demon assassins who go to Earth and slaughter souls. But it's pretty good. It's on Prime Network. Mad Men, this is where it gets into John Hamm, Madeline Hamm, and my sister married name is Hamm. The 30 Rock, Dr. Drew Baird with his pirate hook hands, the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Kimmy Schmidt, the Reverend Wayne, who was John Hamm, who took capture of the Mole Women. That's like my family, while we're bred small to be zoo slaves. We'll get into that later. Top Gun Maverick, Vice Admiral Bo Cyclone Simpson, and American Hostage, which is in production now to be Fred Heckman, John Hamm, who's from St. Louis. Tom Cruise, I had a stepfather named Tom. Tom Cruise was kind of his persona. Top Gun, Risky Business back in the day. Tom Berenger before they got married. Many more connections. Chuck Norris, my new stepfather, who took over for Tom. Walker, Texas Ranger. Missing in Action was Justified. This was all about Justified, the Barry Marx hate crime, commies. So Missing in Action, my sister was missing in action, and the Chucky Voodoo doll because of the voodoo. We'll get into the voodoo later. The Godfather Voodoo. The BLM Alpha Code is St. Bartholomew, which is a French luxury protectorate. VIP, slave barter, bribery. Bart Simpson choked Castaway. So I'm like Bart Simpson. Homer Odyssey. They're making a movie of the Homer Odyssey now because I've wasted prime decades trying to escape the zoo. Castaway. Choked Castaway. I'm choked Smurf Blue, SMU Smurf Blue. My sister went to SMU, where the Bush Library is. And so it's the whole back to St. Bart's is Bart Simpson kidnapped, choked Castaway, oxygen depleted Smurf Blue by Homer Odyssey. Sleeping Beauty, Oblivious, VIP, Target Hunt. So we were sleeping, I was a Sleeping Beauty, Oblivious, Target Hunted, Trapped, Poisoned, Caged, Pretty Woman, Georgian, Julia Roberts, JR, Aaron Brockovich, Oceans 11, 12, and 13, which is 111, 213. We'll get into the 1 1/1 later, January 11th and November 1st. Notting Hill and Steel Magnolias is huge. We'll get into that later. Is it Steel, Steel, or Steal? I think it's Steal because I'm a hostage. Adam Sandler, Waterboy, Bobby Boucher, the Louisiana Mud Dogs, Happy Gilmore. In English language, happy meant gay. They're pirates. Gilmore, golfers. Just Go With It, Billy Madison. BM, Billy Madison. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was 6/21/88, Robert Zemeckis, JR, Jessica Rabbit. Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Prince of Darkness. These are all motivations for vicious, predatory attacks. This was smart attacks. They had to do this smart because they didn't want it to seem like a Jew hate crime. This is the Klan wears ghost hoods. This was smart, elaborate, but this all goes back to keeping us oblivious and poor to where we're like puppet strings. If you've only got a few options, you can control. It's all about a controlled substance bubble environment. That's what this all has to do with. So we were kept in controlled and bubble environments to either be bred, there are only certain options exist. So it's kind of like a pick and choose your own adventure. But the whole motive is keep small to kidnap. All right, where was I? Prince of Dark, Friday the 13th series, Curse, JV, Jason Voorhees, Crystal Lake, Friday the 13th, there was a New Blood on 5/13/88. Halloween series, Mike the Tiger Myers, Rep Mass, Halloween 4, 1988. Return to Mike Myers. 1999, Prince, Purple Rain. Beau Rivage Casino opens. Sig Sig Sputnik was a band from when I was in high school in 1986. They had a 21st Century Boy. They were an English band. And there was a song called Love Missile F-111. 111 being key. It's my mother's birthday. It's also a very important day in Mafia piracy. It was featured in the movie Ferris Bueller. I'm still in summer school now. They never let me go because literally billions stolen. Grateful Dead, American Beauty, set up like a bowling pin. Goes back to that story where I got knocked down. And it's a repeater. The permanent mark. They want me to hate my name as much as they hate the commies. In actuality, the Mafia really are communists. They're pirates. They're chopping off. It goes back to the guillotine revolution of the Sun King, nocturnal predators. So set up like a bowling pin, knocked down. It's all about being busted down on Bourbon Street. And I was, American Beauty, 1999. Kevin Spacey, Lester Burnham, Best Picture. Elba Isle, LNG, Savannah River, SR, Senior, 12. The 12th letter is an L. Magic L. David Letterman joke. Southern Charm, a TV show about Charleston, featured a character named Leva Bonaparte. Elba Isle is where Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled. Then there's a show, Leva Bonaparte on the club called Republic, which is all about representational, but we're talking about the total exploitation. We're talking about slave the source lord is a slave, so all the representatives can be supersized. Southern Hospitality was a spin-off show. Napoleon Dynamite, weak, pathetic, that's the Omega curse. Napoleon, picked on, bullied in high school. Sundance Kidnapped, the Sundance Kid, goes back to Utah. The Natural Gas, LNG. Southern Charm Savannah was canceled in 2017, a spinoff. There was also Southern Charm New Orleans, which was canceled after one season. So the slave beautician, me, has to pay because that's them cats always laying on their feet. Napoleon exile. Louisiana is the only state that uses Napoleonic Code. 49er Gold Rush, Lone Star Louis. I'll get it. It goes back to the Louisiana saboteurs, suicide bombers. The state sold their soul to the system, so it's now just Louis. It's not really Louisiana. They hate King's English, so now they're a member of the mob. They joined Texas. Lone Star Louis is Lone Star Louis exiled. So the state of Louisiana is a pathetic. Louisiana is slow and stupid, historic, slow and stupid, and they're just going to blame it on. We're just suicide bomber saboteurs because they're cats, land on their feet. While Louisiana, the lesson in King's English suffers. That's where Savannah screwed up. King's English, because they're actually against King's English. Revenge of the Nerds, 84, Lewis Skolnick, Gilbert Lowe, Dudley, Booger Dawson, Adams College, Tri-Lambs, the 3L Tri-Lambs. We'll get into Colorado North, Alpha Betas, AB, Anheuser-Busch, 12, the L, the Senior, SR, St. Louis. This is all crazy numerology, I know, it sounds ridiculous. But the voodoo witches, the mafia pirates play this game. I'm stuck in it. The Sonny and Cher show I always equated to my mother and father. My mother shares my dad's wealth because she gives it away. It's the Robin Hood syndrome. Cher was in Moonstruck, Witches of Eastwick. She gives away my wealth too to keep me a baby, so she can be Queen Elizabeth. Mask with Rocky beaten to a ugly deformity. Silkwood. Officer and Gentleman, got into that earlier. Deborah Winger, Louis Gossett Jr. My dad was not an officer. He was an enlisted man. Richard Gere. Brady Bunch, Barry Williams, the Dog Tiger. I'm sure Baton Rouge and LSU made us pay as a slave beautician for that. Fatal Attraction. Definite fatal attraction. Psychotic stalkers in my case. Fatal Attraction, Glenn Close. And Michael Douglas and Ann Archer. Stealing Beauty, Liv Top, Bernardo Bertolucci, who also did Dreamers, which is they did Last Tango in Paris. Jeremy Irons, Stealing Beauty, they stole my beauty. U2, Bono, JR Jr., Beautiful Day. Police, 1981, released an album called Ghost in the Machine. Invisible Sun, that's what we've got. The number 9 song called Omega Man, me being a number 9 and an Omega Man. Ooh, 82, they predict 81, 11, it's Darkness. This 11th song, and 83, Synchronicity, goes back to Jungian Synchronicity. Every breath you take, wrapped around your finger, King of Pain. Everybody's All-American was filmed at LSU in 1987. Dennis Quaid played Gavin Gray Ghost, who was like Billy Cannon, All-American Heisman Trophy winner. Jessica Lange played the Magnolia Queen, Babs Rogers. There was a Savannah Boucher in there, Bobby Boucher. Darlene Keeley played. John Goodman was Bull Lawrence. Dukes of Hazzard, Bo and Luke Duke. John Schneider, Tom Lopat, the TV show. General Lee. The film was filmed at LSU. Johnny Knoxville, Volunteer Bootleggers. Sean William Scott Stifler, Hard On. Party Hard On. Jessica Simpson, Daisy Duke. Richard Marx, 1987, Right Here Waiting. Hazard, Hold On to the Nights, Endless Summer Nights, Repeat Offender, 1989. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Jazzy Jeff. Will Smith gets into St. Louis Cathedral, New Orleans Jazz. I Am Legend, which is how I feel most of the time. Gene Hackman. Gene Hack Burning Man, Omega Hack. Fresh Prince, Enemy of the State. There was a movie called Enemy of the State with the Fresh Prince and Gene Hack Burning Man. Mississippi Burning, my birthday in 1988 was released when I was a pledge. Royal Tenenbaums. Grisham the Firm, about the mafia infiltrated law firm. In 1993, Runaway Jury, 2003, where I was forced illegal by the Baton Rouge Mafia. Princess Bride, 87. Curse. Adventures of the Gummy Bears, yeah, I'm definitely a gummy bear, 85 to 90. Bernstein Bears, 85. Care Bears, 85. All three won right when I was about to go to high school. Mazes and Monsters was an 82 movie. Tom Hanks goes crazy in a game like D&D. There was a guy called Chris Makepeace in there who was also in Meatballs, played Rudy. William Makepeace Thackeray wrote Vanity Fair. Becky Sharp was a character in Vanity Fair, played by Reese Witherspoon in the movie. Vanity Fair, Beau, Vanity Fair, Handicap, Tit. Elliot's Little Wars was a bookstore that sold D&D and D&D miniatures. Trip Elliott Green was a fraternity brother whose parents were cops in New Orleans. Beaumont Kate Luce was a girl I dated. Henry Luce, like my cousin Henry. Henry Luce was the founder of Time Magazine. Walter Isaacson was president of Time Magazine. I wasted decades. E.T. Henry Thomas Eliot. Beautiful Mind, the crazy Ron Howard, like my Uncle Howard. Hardy Invasion of Mark's Castle, Asset Looting Diversion. Russell Crowe, John Nash, Game Theory Nobel Prize. Nash hallucinates about secret agents, looks for clues, pieces together patterns. This is all just, like I said, this is crazy. Coincidental entertainment semiotics. St. Barthes joke, like Roland Barthes, the semiotics study. Castaway joke. Jungian synchronicity, compilation of patterns, marketing his art credibility as launch career and monetize. And A Beautiful Mind is ABM. ABM is a company that does like janitors. Then there's IBM, International Business Machines. I'm domesticated. I'm not allowed to be international business. BLM, St. Bart's. Bury evidence, credibility attempts, gaslighting, brainwashing to keep kidnapped. Coma was a 1978 novel. Robin Cook novel. Michael Crichton wrote screenplay about patients that were poisoned, put into coma, and organs sold on their black markets. The theory is the Caldwell Zoo, Alpha St. Louis 9. You go into Freaky Friday, Trading Places, body steal. They basically took a King of France body and traded places with an Omega K9 body. Deal of the century, Chevy Chase. So the body stealer reps, and then they take the King of France body, and then they mass produce. That's the KC Royal Factory, the VIP keys, the upgrades, compensation in cash, mass production of cash, and it's really anabolic steroids. Sacred debt, slave launders, the identity theft, upgrade, money laundering, blacklist, alienate motive. This could be a book and film pitch. I've actually got a John Grisham sort of novel based upon this whole treatment. Pulp Fiction, Marcellus Wallace in Zed's basement getting his ass pounded. That's me. Mia Wallace snorting Butch's heroin. Urge overkill. Girl, you'll be a woman soon. Kill Bill, Beatrix Kiddo, like USS Kid, Sleeping Beauty, shot in the head by Bill in a coma. The nurse Buck screws Kiddo and pimps her out to her friends. That's me, Sleeping Beauty, getting pimped out. Or my whole family gets pimped out, screwed by Nurse Buck. The new pledge class Nurse Buck. Bowfinger, 1999, Steve Martin. I had a friend, Martin Clear. Bubby Bowfinger, Eddie Murphy, Kit Ramsey. Barry Newman is Hal, like Hal from 2001 Space Odyssey, the artificial intelligence that locks the astronaut out. I've been locked out by Kit's agent, Chubby Rain. My So-Called Life, like Caldwell, Claire Danes, Angela, Jordan Catalano, Jared Leto. 30 Seconds to Mars is this band, like 30. They're seconds to Mars, Red Planet. 2005, he did an album called A Beautiful Lie. Then he did an album called It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day. He was in Tron Ares, lots more. The Muse, Albert Brooks. Muses inspire arts, not conscious conspiracy. I don't think there's a conscious, I don't know, who knows. I'd like to investigate. This is all a theorem. Forces of energy pertaining to gravitational patterns. Mariners steer by the stars, alarms of horrific injustices, beauty and art illuminating hideousness. That's why you'll see a lot of porn. It's so hideous, illuminating the hideousness and supposed clean society as beauty for the porn, or arts. That's what the art does. Attempts to turn good art bad to erase the alarms. That's what, because I'm blacklisted by talent agents, they're hoping to turn the art of Hollywood evil, because the Christians are actually the voodoo evil. And so they're trying to keep the alarms of the stolen property of Hollywood and turned off by turning Hollywood guilty, in my theoretical estimation. Beautiful Mind Schizo, MAtRiX, and GenV, Grand Theft Auto V gets into the JVV Semiotics alarms credit for me. Transferred magic signs to Madeline. There's a band called Louis XIV. There's a band called Louis the Child. That's me, child kidnapped. Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, Black Hole Sun, the Omega Curse, the Black Hole Sun. That's Cornell was where DeltaChi was founded. 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine, Bow, Downward Spiral, Hesitation Marks. St. Vincent Catholic Girls School, 178 years old this year. My DeltaChi initiation number is 178. 78 is a number of platinum. There's a new in there, so that means I am worth the Omega worst least amount platinum attached to St. John the Baptist Cathedral. My granny Rosemary was born in St. John the Baptist Parish. I've been alienated in Savannah since 2010. I walk by St. Vincent's in the cathedral several times a day. I live 2 blocks away. There's a musician I mentioned earlier called St. Vincent. He's from Dallas, which is where my sister went to SMU and they lived. She was formerly in the Polyphonic Spree. There was a band led by Tim DeLauder, who was in Trippin' Daisies, like me tripping, getting knocked down. I'm repeatedly getting bowled over, set up like a bowling pin, Grateful Dead, American Beauty. It's a repeat crazed mafia stalker. Daddy's Home was one of her albums. St. Vincent. She worked with David Byrne, Talking Heads. Mass Education. Love This Giant. Chad Powers, the Eli Manning, New Orleans. Texan Glenn Powell, St. Georgia Catfish, South Georgia Catfish, Plastic Surgery, the Somewhere I Turned Pretty joke, Prime Wasted Decades, Benchwarmer, LNG Slave, Billions Stolen. I'm working on a case. This is all part of that case of billions being stolen. Georgia Forced to Eat Savannah, Max Exploited, VIP Slave, Bribe Lug, National Championship Asterisks. There's the whole case of, did they rig the national championships using me as a hostage? So they could get an asterisk. It's bribe and luck. Beau Rivage beautician bet. Cat's always laying on her feet. There's no excuse for them screwing me this long. It's a hate crime. Cornell Omega cornmeal fried catfish. Georgia John Cougar Mellencamp, Cherry Bomb, 87, Lonesome Jubilee, Jack and Diane, Scarecrow, Britney Spears conspiracy comedy joke theory, Kitwood, Mickey Mouse Club, Fantasy Matrix, Tron, Game Grid, D&D, Dine and Dash, Magic Spears, Gulliver, Sleeping Beauty, Bondage Giant, Sacred Spear Wound Wells. When they spear me with a wound, it's a sacred well. I'm not allowed to fix it. That's, you got to protect the wells for the boys that spear me, the D&D spearing. They extract the magic power assets from you. These are all just pickpockets. They steal my wallet. It's a repeat of stealing my wallet, these spear wound wells. And then the sacred infections handicap me. So, replacement rep, JT, Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River, 2002, Beau Rivage, Mississippi River, Bogaloo, Lumberjacks, Timberlake, Liquid Assets, LNG Slave, Billions Stolen, Steal Your Face, Curse Marks, OmegaJV, Benchwarmer, JT, Marlin, Boiler Room. Movie called Boiler Room, where there was a shady investment firm. They used to pump and dump stocks. I've been pump and dump, shorted, as you'd call it. Slave Beautician for J.T. Marlin, Boiler Room, Caldwell Zoo, Casey Royal Kids, Valedictorian, Kevin, Kyle, Kelly, and Kyle. Kevin was a valedictorian, and Kevin Federline was a backup dancer. Kevin Caldwell actually works at L3 now. But then Federline, Washington Parish, the Feds. Curse. Fletch Lives, 3/17/89. Chevy Chase, L.A. Reporter, Inherits, Louisiana Plantation, Belle Isle. Mafia, Conspiracy, Sabotage, Gag, Motive. Mox, Jimmy Swaggart, Pollution, and Confederacy. And keep that Mafia. Gag, that Godfather 2, Senator Geary Gag. Lloyd, Mafia Initiate Loyalty. St. Louis Arch. New Orleans Archie and Arch Manning, Bow and Arrow, Bow and Aaron, Amputated Bear Arms, Factory Football Joke, Archers was a cartoon, Sterling Archer, Private Intelligence, 2009 to 23. There's Rain Intelligence, where Shea Morin's, who I knew when he was young, and my sister dated when he was a star quarterback who went to University of Texas, was former president. Archer Daniels Midland, Major Cornell syrup producer, big fan of Archer Daniels Midland. Like I said before, it's the magic infused into products by the mafia to get upgrades to validate as cash, in my estimation. I'm a great fan of oil, great fan of Archer Daniels Midland ADM. Head in Chicago is found in Minneapolis. Big Easy was an 87 movie about New Orleans corrupt cops and mob war. Dennis Quaid played Remy McSwain. Everybody's All-American. Ellen Barkin, John Goodman was in it. Daniel Petrie, who also did 1988 Shoot to Kill, which they did Shoot to Kill me. Bad News Bears, Kirks. 76, first one. Breaking Training, 77, goes to Japan, 88. There was a Bad News Bears TV series, 1980. They wore jerseys with Chico's bail bonds, Chico Marx Brothers. The remake of the Bad News Bears in 2005 with Little Bo Peeps. Factor in the new pledge class, Bad News Bears, Little Bo Peeps. Huey Lewis and the News, 85 Power Love, Back to the Future. Family Ties, Alex P. Keaton, Tom Alexander was my stepfather, Michael J. Fox. Slave Organ Theft, Heart. An Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno, 77-82, Curse. Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman, Washington Parish, Irving. Exxon, Irving, Texas is where my mother was married at the First Presbyterian on Irving Street. Irving, Texas is where Exxon, the Boy Scouts, Kimberly Clark, Chuck E. Cheese are all headquartered. Accompanied by the Legend of Sleepy Hollow is accompanied by Rip Van Winkle. You've got the Pappy Van Winkle, who's about Sleeping Beauty, a real expensive VIP bourbon, Pappy Van Winkle. Johnny Depp and Christopher Walken were in it. Sleeping Beauty, Lost Head, Slave Organ Theft Raps, Louisiana Guillotine, Sun King Louis. Mind by Parasite goes into the Superdome being mined hollow. They extract all the value, or Aspen Mountain. Frozen Steel, No Fuel to Escape. Black Beauty was in 1994 and 2020. Red Dawn, 1984. Wolverines, My First Girlfriend was Dawn Hudson. Dated 1 year, no sex. Mimi Rogers was in some movie called Something to Watch Over. Tom Berenger, Stepfather Tom. Mimi was the first date I ever had at Bishop Joseph Sullivan High School. It was in like 9th or 10th grade. I was a late bloomer. I was shy. And I was horrifically ignored and never had girlfriends, really. First date to a school dance. No guess. Fall Guy. Jody Banks, Jerry and Jody Reister were Yankee neighbors from Buffalo. Lee Major, $6 Million Man. I got into this. I got into all that before. Vulnerable to attack seems to be the key motive. Because I was knocked down as a kid my entire life, I am forced vulnerable to attack. The crazed stalker, patriots for Jesus. They want to screw me. They're addicted to screwing me. Brokeback Mountain, can't quit loving you. And so I'm vulnerable to attack. No security, can't grow up big, can't afford. I'm not allowed money to grow up. I'm a gummy bear, vulnerable to attack. Curse marks. Only matters to VIPs with deep pockets depicted by the mob. USS Kidnap. Black Stallion was a movie in '79. I remember watching. Alec Ramsey, Terry Garr, Mickey Rooney played Henry Daly. In the movie, they tell the story of Alexander the Great, Tom Alexander being my stepfather. Drew Barrymore. Barry, St. Thomas More, She Was in Altered States, E.T., Firestarter, Poison Ivy, Irreconcilable Difference. Married Tom Green from Tom Green County. Charlie's Angels. I always link Drew Brees to Barrymore, number 9. In '09, I sent business plan pitches to a bunch of companies. I probably sent 1,000 of them out. And I sent one to Barrymore's Flower Pictures. And it mentioned that I felt passively stalked. When I was in Aspen, I came up with the concept of passive stalking. It's this bubble, ignored bubble, the crystal bubble. People would ignore me or just run away and hide. Passive stalking. I was still kidnapped and stalked because I couldn't escape, so they were keeping me controlled. But I mentioned in the letter that I felt passive stalked. And then a few days later, a flower reps called and yelled at me about stalking. Only call I ever got about any of the thousands of emails I sent. HBO Max, similar, Bo Marks. Rambo First Blood, Rambo, Green Beret, Special Forces, Special Ed Wrestling. Charles Alexander was a football player at LSU, All-American running back, 75 to 77 in the 77 Sun Bowl. 1977, LSU 77, Rice 0, 11 touchdowns. Junior, Curse. Drafted Cincinnati Bengals, Louisiana, 513, LouisIAna, 513. Cincinnati area code is 513. Tybo, Billy Blanks, Barry Bonds, Misery James Caan, Kathy Bates, Hobbled, the Limp Mansion, St. Louis is the beer they used to make beer at. Limpathetic is where I am. Empathetic. They force me. Empathetic. It's a rebuttal. Time kidnap. Time waste. Handicap gospel. I'm thinking of changing my autobiography from Trophy Hunt Butchered. Then it was Special Ed Wrestling. Now I'm thinking about Beauty Queen Annie Wilkes. Annie Wilkes was the Kathy Bates character in Misery. She was crazy. My kidnapping is so much horrifically worse than Annie Wilkes was in the movie Misery. So I'm thinking Beauty Queen Annie Wilkes is my new autobiography. Les Miserables, Les Miles, Les Misery, Miser, Jean Valjean, JV, Curse, Omega Curse, gotta find the worst. Then there's Parasite and Mickey 17, which is about clones, Bong Joon-ho, big fan. Looney Tunes, Acme Music Company was a company I started. Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner, Looney Tunes, Curse, I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball, Cuban Desi Arnaz, like my granny Rosemary, and grandfather who was Marx, the Cuban Desi Arnaz. Bon Jovi, Slippery and Wet, 86, Waterboy in West Texas, Curse. Marilyn Manson, Beautiful People, Mechanical Animals, Antichrist Superstar album. Hollywood was actually recorded in Bogaloo Set Studio in the country. St. Elsewhere was a TV show about the hospital. Dr. Craig. I had an Aunt Debbie and Uncle Steve Craig. And Dr. Caldwell, this was way before, this was like 82. Mark Harmon. This is where it gets into the Mark Harmon, Dr. Caldwell. Summer School Curse. I'm still in summer school because I'm a gusher. Well, literally billions stolen. Public school lunch, still, worth, another movie called Worth Winning. Last girlfriend I had was in 98, Carrie Moorhead. Same year as Carrie Bradshaw, Sex and the City. UGA Bulldog President, Moorhead. Terry Bradshaw, Hooper, Soviet and Bandit 2, Cannonball Run, Failure to Launch, big one. Better Late Than Never, another big one. He was a Louisiana Tech Bulldog and a Steeler. This is where you get into the steal or steal debate. Steel City was also the bridge city. They are not building bridges to me, and I am the source. They are burning bridges to me and stealing. Castaway, Slave, Source, Upgrade, Body Stealers, Rep Factories, Fox Sports, Howie Long, Uncle Howard. Bigfoot, Curse, Louisiana Throne or Boot, Louis Foot. Creature from the Black Lake was from 76. I remember seeing it as a kid. My dad took me. It gave me nightmares as a child. Curse Marks. Legend of Boggy Creek, 72, they both took place in film in North Louisiana. Night of the Demon, Harry and the Hendersons. Scout, Grizzly, man-eating huge grizzly, this was 76, killed by rocket launcher. Bozo the Clown, mascot of Capitol Records, 57, creative rights purchased by Larry Harmon, Mark Harmon, Dr. Caldwell, St. Louis Summer School, Bogalusa, Humphrey Bogart. These are all stretches, but always acquitted. Key West, number 9. Key Largo, Treasure of Sierra Madre, Maltese Falcon. Buffalo Effect. This is Ashton Kutcher, who was an Iowa DeltaChi. As a kid, we had nets and we would catch butterflies. Then we would stick pins through them and stick them to cardboard boxes. So I had these huge butterfly collections. Me and my friend Jeff Williams. And so I took them for show and tell at St. Thomas More, and all the kids touched the butterflies and broke them. It's kind of the story of my life. My collection ruined. Guardian, about Coast Guard. Ashton Kutcher and Kevin Costner was in. Robert Wigger, who lives in Savannah, was a fraternity brother. His dad was a captain in the Coast Guard, who also lives in Savannah. We took my only trip to Europe, which was hostels and cheap. I went for 30 days on like $2,500. It's that cheap. Was with Robert. The Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner was a Cal State Fullerton DeltaChi. Kevin Costner has a double dose of the magic goodness, upgrade magic goodness, because he was a DeltaChi and the KC Royals. Kevin Caldwell. So he gets into the cornfields, baseball fields, Cornell, DeltaChi. Then you get into 787 Platinum Francium. 78 is Platinum, 87 is Francium. The new being Platinum, PF Chang's. Dreamliner, 787 Dreamliner. I get no dreams. I'm ranked last. And then you get into Hasbro, Home Alone, Starbro, D&D, Dine and Dash, Wizards of the Coast, WOTC, in Renton, Washington, where there's also Providence Health, and it's in King County. There's Boeing, Capital Boeing is in Renton, Washington. Motley Crue Shop at the Devil, Dr. Feelgood, Doctor Who, Voodoo, Godfather. We'll get into that later. Super Mario Brothers 85, Super Mario World 90, Eminem Mars, Curse, Marvel Superhero, X-Men Gambit, Remy LeBeau, Remy Martin, Louis the 13th, Black Pearl gets into my friend Martin Clear, Lockheed Martin and Boeing, Martin Clear joke. If you MAR and then 10, the Roman numeral for 10 is X, so it's Martin. L3, Kevin Caldwell works there. That's where you get into the Colorado. Little Dicky rapper, the FX TV show Dave. Scooter Braun. There was a new pledge brother, Jimmy Braun, who was initiated ahead of me. His father, Lou, worked at GM. My dad, Louis, birthday 9/16. GM was founded on 9/16. But Jimmy Braun was initiated in front of me. Scooter Braun, this is all about plugs, this is the joke of this whole mafia scenario. So Scooter Braun is ahead of me, more power than me. Probably why he's dating Sydney Sweeney now. Joke. Omega Magnum, Louis, so Louis is Little Dickies. So when you get into magnum being new, I'm the omega of the like Trojan magnum mean big, but I am the micro penis little dicky po boy, poor boy, which is a long French baguette made sandwich, and material girls Madonna. So the equation of a big dick being monetary compensation, material girls, and baguette mentality. So I've got I can't say, I'm extreme poor. That's a joke. Bachelor meet Zito in Italian. Ken Zito was initiated several classes before me. Ken's older brother, Jimmy and Don, I think Jimmy he's a lawyer, and he got Drusilla seafood from the Bananos for lawyers' fees. And my dad's birthday, 9/16, Julia Drusilla was born on that day. See, Drusilla seafood. Drusilla, Deborah Winger, Wonder Woman. So, wow, they got all kinds of magic in there. Then you get into, they had a sister named Nancy. Was Nancy Pelosi Speaker of the House because of the Nancy? Nancy was older than Ken, who was older than me, and older than Jimmy, who was older than my dad. So Nancy Speaker of the House, magic. It's that plug mentality, that crazy voodoo plug mentality. Gone in 60 seconds. Wasted my life. GTAV is from 2000. Hot Wire Fleet of Exotics. Nick Bocage. There's an area of Baton Rouge called Bocage. Randall Memphis Reigns. In 2003 MTV Video Music Awards, I think it was the Movie Awards, there was a spoof of the Matrix with Justin Timberlake, who was born in Memphis, like Memphis Reigns, and Sean William Scott Stifler Hard-On Hardys. They got the key maker from the Matrix to open the door so they could go sip Cristal. Louis Roederer Cristal. There was a recent Simpsons where Old Man Burns had this exotic car. He said, "You'd have to pry this exotic car from my cold dead hands." The young guy swooped in, picked him up, and moved him out of the way and took the car. Wait until Bush Week handshake, beautician bribe. Fetch VIP assets for young blood, new mob boys to take away. JT Marler. Boiler room, open 50 accounts as a slave, then initiated the mafia, get paid. I never get initiated, just fetch for the mob boys. Before sunrise 95, before sunset 04, before midnight 13. Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, Texas, Richard Linklater. It's about an American going to and charming a French woman. I was never allowed. They kept me. That's one of the reasons. So the Trojan Magnum replacement reps can go screw in my place and charm the French stupid bitches. Louis. I had a French granny named Louis. Louis with a French granny. Psycho stalker, domesticated, alienated, wasted, prime, natural gas. Weekend at Bernie's, Bernie Lomax, Sleeping Beauty, Coma Puppet Family, Bernie Mac, Mr. 3000, Handicap, play with 3,000 against millionaires. 1,000 Points of Light, 1988. Damn, we're over an hour. New Orleans Speech by George H.W. Bush. Thousandaire, Thousand Island Dressing, Big Trophy Buck. These are all 1,000 Points of Light. We're not allowed to be millionaires like the Lion. Like the Maine, Kenny Buckport, Maine. Bo Jackson, Auburn Tiger, 1989. The Nike Bo Nose commercial with Bo Diddley. Curse. Northeast Louisiana Warhawks, 12-3 Northeast. Duck Dynasty in Monroe. Delta Airlines was named while based in Monroe for the Mississippi Delta. Northwest Louisiana Demons, 12-9, my birthday. Vic the Demon is the mascot. Natchitoches. Julia Roberts was Steel Magnolias was filmed in Natchitoches. Julia Roberts was in Steel Magnolias. 12 Years a Slave was filmed at a plantation in Natchitoches. Then you get into, there's a guy that owns a place called Vic's on the River in Savannah. That is was a graduate of Southeastern Louisiana Lions. I worked there for 2 days and was fired. Vic the Demon is above. This is where he gets into the JV curse. I'm below all the demons, so I'm way down low. Even though I support the Lions supplying all the energy and pay for this party, I'm not allowed. That's the whole rigged game. Kidnapper, hostage, gun to head. Tons more semiotics, synchronicity. I'm adding on as this goes. This is a thing. Then this will get into the conspiracy comedy dark jokes. Hunger Games pain. Sorry about that. I know we're having problems. There are people that are really hungry, but this goes into the Louis Roederer crystal bubble zoo cage castaway. Zero penetrates my bubble, fuel to escape. I have alienated incel since 2010 because I need people are tools or weapons to escape or to expose my plans. So parasite rep, sensory intercepted. If I try to eat something, it goes to a rep, a parasite rep. Bread. Bread is supposedly like money. If I eat bread, a rep of mine gets paid. Payday. Or if I see something, a rep gets to, or if I touch something or smell, sensory intercepted bubble. OmegaLast, poison nutrition, last number, poison red meat, poison chicken, poison chips, poison nuts, poison corn, poison corn syrup, Chiquita bananas, Savannah bananas, poison, gumbo. It's the Hunger Games pains. Everything's poison. Poison nutrition. Everything's poison. So I am starving to death. Bush League beautician bribe, malware hack, poison shrink, gas ceiling, gummy bear bow cage, magic rank power distribution, David Letterman joke, JV. There's the pros, there's the varsity, there's the JV, JW Pepper segregation, Bush League bribe. It's a massive weapon of mass destruction. JR Ewan. Bush was also a failed oil man, so this is even adds to that beautician bribe. St. Jean Vianney confirmation. Patron saint of priests. A mob forces me into vows of celibacy, poverty, and chastity. That's Gusher Wells. Anything I don't use goes to the mob. JV Texas High School Golf. Then there's the Eiffel Tower Jules Verne, which is a restaurant, so I got to be in the restaurant industry. Joint ventures, no joint ventures for me. We'll cancel them out. Out of my league, Sacred V, Friday Night Lights varsity, Odessa Permian, PEMIA Permian Basin, Baby Jessica in a well was a story. Jessica St. Bart Simpson, Dukes of Hazzard bootleggers, Bo and Luke Duke, Vogue till nuclear, the new pledge class, nuclear V. I'm screwed either way. They're trying to kick me out into no electricity. Vagina is out of my league. Spay and neuter, sacrificial lord, WMD, hoping to kill some big trophies. Venus, got a V and a new in it. Goddess of beauty, so I get the ugliest. Viagra. Hard on is out of my league. Caldwell game, they don't let me to share. They don't share. The View, The Voice, vegetables, etc. Plastics, Trojan Magnum enlargement. Plastics has a last in it. Omega is last. Trojan Magnum enlargement. Micro OmegaJV Magnum Louis. Micro Louis. Little gummy bear. Material Girls. They're building a new restaurant called the Paris Baguette on Broughton. True Blood, Dope V in the show True Blood, vampire blood was a strong drug that everybody got addicted to. And then there's the Generation V from the boys on the Prime, Superpowers, Castaway, Benchwarmer, Slave, Dope Lab, OmegaJV, St. Louis 9, Idiocracy Upgrades. The movie Idiocracy, there's a character called Upgrade. And that's what this is all about, upgrades. You could let me manage the estate, BLM, land management, but then you wouldn't get the public access lure. It's all about supersized upgrades. This whole fucking war on the world is about supersized upgrades. You not have, Magnum is what it's all about. The Doctor Who Caldwell Zoo Debt Slave, South St. Louis 9, Southeastern Lion Diploma. SE 63 Europium. Does that have anything to do with the Doctor Who? There's a fraud taking the place of Louis and Europium, Europe. Chucky Voodoo. This is where you get into Chucky Voodoo. Castaway, Handicap, Cage Motor. Sacred Debt Well, Body Stealer, Reps, Rank. Upgrade, Magic, Casey Royals Factory. Launder's ID Theft. Theory. Widespread bribery, mafia accomplices, keeps the debt slaves buried in the wells. The supercomputer hack logic mutates programs to societal illusions. The theory is this: the global Catholic parish networks hack with this Doctor Who fraud taking the place of the pro-mafia voodoo godfather, the Motley Crue Doctor Who, Dr. Feelgood Dope Lab, Doctor Who Caldwell Zoo, Debt Slave, St. Louis 9 Rank Power Networks, St. Louis Well, Doctor Who attended Evangelical Wheaton, which is where Billy Graham has a thing. Wheat makes flour, which makes bread. So magic bread that brainwashes this voodoo fraud is the head of all bread, which brainwashes the societal illusions to fraud. Doctor Who grad, he was a grad of Baylor Baptist Bears. He went to a University of Texas not the UT in Austin Medical School, but another UT Medical School. But it's the whole quantitative cowherd logic, because UT is a Longhorn school as their mascot. Married mom, First Presbyterian, Irvin Street. I went into that. Sister adopted. She went to she's a debt slave. She went to SMU, was a Kappa Alpha Theta, same as Laura and Jenna Bush, which is a Methodist. So the Methodist rank are feeding off this also. Then there's a Wesley statue, who was the founder of Methodist in Savannah. That's where you get into the choke smurf. Sister married Episcopal Church. Factor that in. Rigged rank mutates logic to launder master fraud of global network theory. Dopeheads addicted to the debt slave voodoo dog gummy bear St. Louis 9 magic. So my theory is the St. Louis 9 magic is permeating all these other religions, power in them. And that's one of the reasons to keep the hostage. That's the motive for the Caldwell Zoo hostage, and keep us buried in the wells. They will not let us be masters of the estate and manage the estate properly. So it's crazy chaos. Predatory roid rage attack, nocturnal. Cash is king and blood is trash program system. Four corners, 3L, 12-3, Northeast Colorado Buffaloes, Buff, Red&Buff, NE, Nebraska, Cornhuskers, Cornell Cornhuskers. Probably why you got the College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium. New England, NE. Northeast University, Boston, NE. Huskies. Northwest, 12-9, my birthday. We'll get it. DeltaChi Red&Buff, you found in Cornell. South by Southwest, 6x69, 414. The 414 magic. Louisiana 513, LouisIAna 513. Cincinnati, there's Kroger, Procter & Gamble, or the Reds, the Bengals, Xavier Musketeers, the X-Men, all for one, one for all. 4114. Covalent Bond 414. There's a building called on 1111 Louisiana Street in Houston, Centerpoint Energy. South by Southwest, 6x69, 414. 414 is Milwaukee, the Brewers, the Bucks, Johnson Controls, Harley Davidson. 414 12th Street, Kansas City, City Hall. So there's your power bribe to the system. Casey Royals, Chiefs, the Caldwell Zoo, KC Kids, Hallmark. 12-9, my birthday, Being John Malkovich, Scad Bees, Being John Malkovich, Bo Bridges. So rather than building a bridge to Bo, they built it to another person, and his brother was Jeff Bridges, which is in the Tron universe, which is the whole Matrix thing. 12-9, Northwest, Utah Beehive, Jazz from New Orleans, Northwest Stadium, where the Washington Commanders play, NWA, Fuck the Police, UN, National Day of Anti-Corruption, joke. 9/16, Dad's birthday. Then you get into sugar, SUGAR, SR, Savannah River, 12, which is the letter L. Dad's birthday, Dad Louis Sr. birthday. Scalp Skin. Reese Jones was born on the same day as my dad. Reese Jones is a famous golf. I think there's some sort of magic with the golf courses. Reese Jones is related to Robert Trent Jones, so it gives magic to the entire family who they designed a ton. Then we live on historic Jones Street. I live in the slave quarters, but I still live on historic Jones Street, Magic Fairways. 9/16, Clear Channel rebrands as iHeartMedia. General Motors was founded. Richard Marx, another Marx, who married MTV's Daisy Fuentes. Henry V, Henry V, was born on 9/16. The Cornell Daily Sun was his first edition, was on 9/16. The Mayflower actually set sail. Nick Jonas Brothers was born. Chase Stokes from Outer Banks. Henry Louis Gates Jr., John Bell Edwards, who was a Louisiana governor, was born on my dad's birthday. So therefore, every governor after that, that's the tax, 100% tax. We're slaves. Julia Drusilla Seafood, and then he was born in 47, which is the Silver Bullet. Silver is 47. Silver Bullet. Adam Silver, St. Bart's, that sort of thing. But then again, you've got the 47th president, so Trump kind of trumps that. Oceans 111, 111, 213. On 111, my mom's birthday, Michigan was founded as Carroll Shelby, the Super Cobra, Ford Cobra Mustangs, like the SMU Mustangs. Louis B. Mayer founds the Academy. Ezra Cornell. Cornell is huge in this. He was born on my mom's birthday, died on my birthday, 12/9. Great Savannah Fire was on 1/11. Louisiana State University, my fraternity was founded on my mother's birthday. It's the Alpha Omega chapter. I'm a Louis Alpha as the Omega. Premeditated conspiracy? Possibly. Then 11/1, which is 111, but different shape. All Saints Day. The Saints join the NFL on All Saints Day. So everybody in the NFL is a saint, or bigger than a saint. You know, that sort of mentality. Programs the system. 213, Los Angeles area code. Chuck Yeager was born, and it's Black Love Day. We're at 1 hour and 22 minutes. I'm not going to really get it. That's the end of that set. The Secret Max, that's all motive for the Secret Max exploitation of VIP slaves theory. BLM, St. Barters Bribes. I don't know if I want to get it. I'll save that for another day. But it's all about, that is all motive for creating VIP slaves. And I'm not going to get, there's all the Brovage slave beautician, there's the HRH brand. I've got autograph cramp. Even though I'm alone, I co-sign so much for frauds that I have Hunger Game pains, cramps. That's the fame autograph joke. Wasted prime decades, the pickpocket wells, luxury time theft, the whipped slave beauty, alluring magnetism, attraction, math cool magnetism, VIP slave, St. Louis 9. There's all sorts of different ways. The Magic Power Slave Well, Hostage Shakedown, Aspen Ideas Slave, don't have the resources to make any of it real. Slave Dope Labs makes corn syrup magic slaver for the slaves. You know, it's all the St. Louis 9 magic corn syrup. Soul Brothers, it's a spread theory, human shield for celebrities. If celebrity security, they keep guns to our heads in order for extortion. Jackie Robinson theory, I'm not allowed to play because I am a game changer. I don't know. I don't feel like going into that. So that's enough for today. My voice kind of held out.